All right, I think we can cut across to the election town hall.
The Indian elections. It is arguably the world's largest democratic exercise. 900 million eligible voters who will cast their votes and exercise their choice. Just to give you a sense of how large this democratic process is, that means that this is more than Europe and Australia's voter base combined. So that gives you a sense of just how large this exercise is going to be. In 2014, 3,400 crore rupees was spent on the Indian election, on conducting the 2014 election. It is probably going to be a larger amount that we will spend, but this is still much lower when you compare it to the kind of size of this democratic exercise. There's going to be several factors that will play an important role. Young voters, and which is why we're here at the Amity University talking to young people on what they make of India's elections. Women voters, remember the turnout of women voters has gone up significantly over the last several elections, but yet there are 21 million missing Indian women voters if you go by the 2011 census. Those are going to be some of the unanswered questions that we hope to be able to get a sense of from the officials of the Election Commission. EVMs, there's been a lot of controversy around EVMs. There's been a lot of controversy around the use of social media. The Election Commission, along with publishers, has come out with a voluntary code of ethics. Is it practical? Is it going to work? What are the challenges? To discuss all of that and more, joining us today is the Election Commissioner, Mr. Ashok Lavasa. Mr. Lavasa, thank you very much for joining us here on the Election Town Hall. Also with us, the former Chief Election Commissioner, Mr. V.S. Sampath. Mr. Sampath, thank you very much for joining us here on the CNBC-TV18 Election Town Hall. And a big round of applause to all our students here who are out in large numbers this morning to put their questions here on the Election Town Hall. Mr. Lavasa, I'm going to start by asking you, sir. I mean, there's a lot of numbers. I rattled off very few of them. But give me a sense of, from the start to the finish, of how many people are actually involved in being able to pull this exercise off.
Thank you, Shereen, and let me say good afternoon, everyone. This indeed is a really mammoth exercise, and if you talk in terms of numbers, then you're talking of more than 90 crore or 900 million voters, and they're still adding up. Then we are talking of more than 10,35,000 polling stations throughout the country. You're talking of almost 11 million people. That is 1.1 crore officials and other forces which are assisting the Election Commission in conducting this exercise.
So 1.1 crore officials assisting the Election Commission.
Yeah,
okay.
Yeah. So that is the scale and size of this exercise, spread throughout the length and breadth of the country. There are polling stations which are set up for one voter. There are polling stations where there are very few voters, but the objective of the Commission is that nobody needs to travel more than 2 kilometers for going to cast his vote. So that is the scale of this exercise, and not many people know that this exercise actually begins almost 365 days before the date.
So it takes just a year to be able to plan the mechanics of being able to put the election together?
That's right. But those are, as you say, peacetime activities. Not many people are interested in knowing what happens in the green room. They're interested in the act which is performed before them. But it is a tribute that, Election Commission is a very small organization. We don't have more than 450 or 500 people. But when the time for the election comes, it is transformed into a gigantic machine. And this, I think, is a great sort of vision on the part of the constitution makers who enabled the Election Commission, empowered the Election Commission to draw upon the resources of the people of this country, of the governments of this country, and then put together this exercise so that you can have a fair and free and transparent election.
Sir, let me just ask you about the cost, because as I pointed out, 2014, the cost of conducting the Lok Sabha election was about 3,400 crore rupees. I would imagine that it is going to be higher. Is it going to be significantly higher this time around?
Well, we count the numbers after the exercise is over. So going by the simple sort of logic of inflation, I'm sure that there'll be more cost than last time. There are more voters, there are more people, there are more polling stations. So obviously it's going to cost more than what it cost last time. But on the whole, the exercise is very efficiently conducted, and the per voter cost is very, very insignificant.
Well, as you can see, India is diverse. It's not just people who come out to vote, but you also have four-legged creatures who are out here listening to the Election Commission and what they have to say about conducting elections. Mr. Sampath, the googlies are going to come your way, sir. And before I get to the audience for their questions, I know the students have many of them for you. You know, there's a lot of conversation around the number of phases that the elections are conducted in. Last time around, it was 9 phases. This time, it's 7 phases. There has been some questions raised about why some states have had to go in for a 7-phase election. Is it really necessary? And really, going forward, should India aspire to conduct its elections in 4 to 5 phases? Is that even possible and practical, sir?
It's a very good question. For your information, I had the privilege of being associated with last 2014 general election. A common misnomer about number of phases in 2014 is 9, 10 like that. Whereas I have to clarify to you,
okay,
it is not 9 or 10, it was only 6.
Okay.
So what happened was, in the month of April, from 7th April to 11th April, in Northeast, you know, Northeast is the area where monsoon sets in very early. We wanted to complete all the elections in Northeast during those 5 days in 4 poll days.
Okay.
There were actually 4 poll days. Despite our explaining any number of times, neither the people nor the media understand that it is only 1 phase.
Okay.
So, if it is taken as 1 phase,
then there were 6.
It was 6 phases. Anyway, I have also to hasten to add, it does not really matter whether it is 6 phases or 7 phases or 5 phases. What is important is you as a voter will be going to polling station only once.
Once, yeah.
Throwing light on the Herculean effort that goes behind putting up or, going behind the democratic, electoral machine that is India. On that note, we'll slip into a very short break. On the other side, Insecticides India is a stock on our radar on the back of the new factory in Rajasthan. Rajesh Agarwal, the MD and CEO of the company, on the other side.